Hello, hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to look at the calendar module of the Python standard library. We had covered till John info. So we will first go through the theory. I intend to finish this in one go, as well as at the end I have a program which will show the practical uses of calendar module of Python. Also at the end, I will show you my question answer website, which I have created for you guys, where you can come and ask questions because it is really not possible to give programs in YouTube comments or, for example, images. So YouTube restrict comments are not really good for the programming work. So if you have questions or if you want to answer somebody else's question, you can come to my question answer platform and join it. So without further ado, let's get started. This module allows you to output calendars like the Unix cal program and provides additional useful functions related to the calendar. By default, these calendars have Monday as the first day of the week and Sunday as the last. The European convention use set first weekday to set the first day of the week to Sunday or to any other weekday. Parameters that specify dates are given as integers. For related functionality, see also the date time and time module, which we have already covered. The functions and classes defined in this module must use an idealized calendar. The current Gregorian calendar extends indefinitely in both directions. This matches the definition of the proleptic Gregorian calendar in Dershowitz and Reingold's book, Calendrical Calculations, where it is the base calendar for all computations. 0 and negative years are interpreted as prescribed by the ISO 8601 standard. Year 0 is 1 BC, year minus 1 is 2 BC, and so on. So first we have the calendar constructor, which takes one optional argument, first weekday, and it creates a calendar object. First weekday is an integer specifying the first day of the week. Monday is 0, the default, Sunday is 6. A calendar object provides several methods that can be used for preparing the calendar data for formatting. This class doesn't do any formatting itself. This is the job of subclasses. Calendar instances have the following methods and attributes. First weekday, which will give between 0 and 6, and it can be set by using set first weekday, and we can get the value by get first weekday. Then we have get first weekday returns an int for the current first weekday between 0 to 6. Then we have set first weekday, which takes first weekday as an argument and sets it. Then we have iter weekdays, return an iterator for the weekday numbers that will be used for 1 week. The first value from the iterator will be same as the value of the first weekday property. Iter month dates take year and month. Return an iterator of the month. Month varies from 1 to 12 in the year which we supply. This iterator will return all days as datetime.date objects for the month and all days before the start of the month and after the end of the month that are required to get a complete week. Iter month days return an iterator for the month in the year similar to iter month dates, but not restricted by the datetime.date range. Days return will simply be day of the month numbers. For the days outside of the specified month, the day number is 0. Then we have iter month days 2. So days return will be tuples consisting of a day of the month number and a weekday number. Okay, so there is a bit of difference. Then we have iter month days 3. So days return will be tuples consisting of a year, month, and day. So day is extra this time. Then we have 4, which will return year, month, day, as well as a day of week numbers. Then we have month dates calendar, return a list of weeks in the month of the year as full weeks. Weeks are lists of 7 datetime.date objects. Then we have month days 2 calendar. So it will return as full weeks. That is list of weeks as full weeks. Then we have month days calendar. So similar weeks are lists of 7-day numbers. Then we have year dates calendar. It takes year and which is optional, which is argument by default is 3. Return the data for the specified year ready for formatting. The return value is a list of month rows. Each month row contains up to which months, defaulting to 3. Each month contains between 4 and 6 weeks, and each week contains 1 to 7 days. Days are datetime.date objects. Then we have year days to calendar. So it returns the data for the specified year ready for formatting, similar to year dates calendar. Entries in the week lists are tuples of day numbers and weekday numbers. Day numbers outside this month are 0. Then we have year days calendar. So similar to year dates calendar, it gives the data for specified year. Entries in week lists are day numbers outside this month are 0. Then we have another class, text calendar, similar to the calendar class. This class can be used to generate plain text calendars. It has following methods. That is objects. Okay, it talks about instances. One is format day, the day, week, day, and width. Return a string representing a single day formatted with the given width if the day is 0. Return a list of spaces of the specified width representing an empty day. The weekday parameter is unused. Format week takes a week and W is equal to 0. Return a single week in a string with no new line. If W is provided, this specifies the width of the date columns which are centered. Depends on the first weekday as specified in the constructor or set by the set first weekday method. Then we have format weekday, which takes two arguments, weekday and width. Return a string representing the name of a single weekday formatted to the specified width. The weekday parameter is an integer representing the day of the week, where 0 is Monday and 6 is Sunday. Then we have format width header, which takes only argument width. Return a string containing the header row of weekday names formatted with the given width for each column. The names depend on the locale settings and are padded to the specified width. Then we have format month, which takes year and month, which is 0, and L we will see. So like the previous function, it returns month's calendar in a multi-line string. If width is provided, then it is used and dates are centered. If L is given, it specifies number of lines that each week will use. Depends on the first weekday as specified in the constructor or set by the set first weekday method. Then we have format month name, takes year and month, width is equal to 0 with the year is equal to 2. These are two default arguments. Returns a string representing the month's name center within the specified width. If with the year is true, include the year and the output. The year and the month parameters specify the year and month for the name to be formatted respectively. Then we have PR month, which print a month's calendar that is returned by format month. We have format years. So it has three arguments, four optional arguments, width and lines, and C we will see, and M we will see. So it runs M column calendar. So M is columns for an entire in a multi-line string. Optional parameters W, L, and C are for date column width, lines per week, and number of spaces between month columns respectively. Depends on the first weekday, and this is the same thing. We have PR year, which prints the calendar for entire year. Then we have HTML calendar, just like text calendar. So format month will be similar. It returns an HTML table. Format year will be same. So these functions are same, just like they return the HTML page. This one uses CSS as well. And encoding you can pass as UTF-8 by default in general. So if you look at this what you call calendar, it has following attributes which you can override to customize the CSS classes. So CSS classes for each weekday is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Then we have more styles which can be added: Monday, text bold, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on. Then we have CSS class node. So these are the classes which you can attribute, add to your this CSS file. Okay. So CSS class underscore node is a class for weekday occurring in the previous month or coming month. We have CSS classes underscore weekday underscore head. It is used for weekday names and header rows. The default is same as CSS classes. Then we have month lead. The default value month head. The default value is month. Then we have CSS class underscore month. The CSS class for the whole month table. Then we have CSS class underscore year and CSS class underscore year underscore head. So similarly, these are applied for year. Note that although the naming for the above described class attributes is similar, example CSS class underscore month and CSS class underscore node, one can replace the single CSS class with a space separated list of text CSS classes. For example, text hyphen bold space text hyphen red. So it is an example how CSS calendar you can customize. So you create a custom class with HTML calendar as the base class, and to CSS classes you add style plus text hyphen no wrap for style in calendar dot HTML calendar dot CSS classes. Then to month head you can apply these two classes. To month you can apply these, and for year you can apply these, or you can write your own custom classes and add those. Then we have two more classes, local text calendar and local HTML calendar, which makes use of your locale. So your month and weekdays may change according to your locale. Then we have following this for simple text calendars, the module provides the following functions. Set first weekday we have seen. First weekday we know. If sleep will return true, if year is sleep, otherwise false. Leap days will return leap years in the range from Y1 to Y2 exclusive, and Y1, Y2 are years. Weekday will return the day of the week. Week header will return a header containing abbreviated weekday names and specifies the width in characters for one weekday. Month range will return weekday of the first of the month, first day of the month, and number of days in month for the specified year and month. Then we have month calendar, which returns a matrix representing a month's calendar. Each row represents a week. Days outside of the month are represented by 0. Each week begins with Monday, so that is the same. PR month will print month's calendar. Month will print month's calendar. PR cal will print the entire calendar. Calendar will return a 3-column calendar that we have seen. Then we have time GM, an unrelated but handy function that takes a time tuple such as returned by the GM time function in the time module and returns the corresponding Unix timestamp value, assuming an epoch of 1970 and the POSIX encoding. In fact, time.gm time and time GM are each other's inverse. The calendar module exports the following data attributes. One is day name. So it is a sequence that represents the days of week in the current locale where Monday is day, and day abbreviation will give us the abbreviated days of week in the current locale. So we have these attributes as well, which are aliases for days of the week. Then we have calendar.day class, which enumerates defining days of week as integer constant. Then we have month underscore name, which is a sequence just like we had for days, right? Day name. Similarly, we have month name and we have month abbreviations. So these are 3 alphabet list, and then we have calendar.month, which is the enumeration of months as integer constants. January is 1 and December is 12. Then we have illegal math error exception class, which is a subclass of value error and index error. It is read when the given month number is outside of the range. And we have illegal weekday error when the exception will be read if weekday number is outside the range 0 and 6. So it asks us to look at date time and time module. Now this module can be executed as a script from the command line to interactively print a calendar. So to print, so these are all the options you can see. To print a calendar of year 2000, you invoke the module calendar with the argument 2000. Okay, let me show you this. So right now we are in 2026, so we'll print the calendar of 2026. So we take this and we print. So there we go. Today is June and 18th. So it is highlighted the date 18th. So that is done for us. So you can see the entire calendar with this. Okay. And then it is the explanation of all the arguments of this. Now we can go and look at the program which we have written. So we'll see what it does. So we imported calendar module, we import date from datetime module, we create the calendar, first day we set as Monday. Then we set year to 2026, months to July. And we print the calendar of the July month. Then we have dictionary, holidays, and there are two holidays, 4th of July and 20th of July. 4th July is US Independence Day, and 20th we have a hypothetical or imaginary company event. Then we look at holiday items and we print the holiday and the name. Now we print all Mondays for, we have all Mondays for weekly team meetings. Okay. So we iterate over the month dates, and if a month is Monday or and month is July and our weekday is Monday, we print that day. We check if a date is a working day. So weekday should be less than 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are 5 working days, and B should not be in holidays. Okay, the date should not be in holidays. So we check 20th July and we store it, and it says checking. And if it is a working day, then we call it working day, otherwise we call it holiday or weekend. So initially we set working days to 0 and we iterate on the month dates, and we check if the month is July and is working day is day, then we add that to working days and we finally print it. So we run this, and there we go. So we have this is the calendar for the July, and we have two holidays, 4th of July and 20th of July. We have 4 weekly meetings on 6th, 13th, 20th and 27th of July. And we check the 20th July, it is holiday or weekend, and total number of working days is 22. So that's all about calendar module. You can use it to maintain calendar, and you can use it in web applications for calendar kind of data. So all those sequences which the module returns can be used. So with this, I will end this video here. But before ending this, let me show you my question answer website. So this is my question answer website. You can come do the registration. No password is needed. Okay. It is slow. Internet is slow. So for registration, you pick username and email, and you will be sent a confirmation email link. You confirm that your email gets confirmed, and then you log in. You put your email. You will be sent a code to sign in. Then you sign in and ask questions. Start participating. Okay, now it is coming. So we have lots of tags. We can make use of the Python tag. Okay, and you can't create tags as a user. So if you need a tag or something, I can add that. If you ask me in a question, if you need certain tags, I can add that. So that is not a problem. And it supports Markdown. So same like Stack Overflow. So instead of making use of YouTube comments, make use of this website. Please do register if you want to ask questions or help others by giving answers. So with this, I will end this video here, and we will meet again on the 4th day with the next topic. Let me quickly pull it, docs.python.org, and the next topic would be, let me see, collections, right? This is a big one. So it is a big one. It will take probably 2 or 3 videos, maybe 2, maybe 3. Excuse me. So we will look at collections, which is very useful, container data types. In day-to-day programming, it is very useful. So I hope that you have found this video useful and informative. So please do make login on Conchica and tell your friends about it, that you can come online and ask questions. And AI will not answer your questions. Okay, it will be some human being. So we'll meet again after 4 days. So thanks a lot for watching the video, and I will take my leave here, and you keep learning. Enjoy. Have a nice day.